Imagine standing in front of a crowd when someone looks directly at you and asks a question where no matter how you answer, you lose. For example, they might ask, "Are you still as arrogant as you used to be?" If you say yes, you confess to being arrogant. If you say no, you admit that you were arrogant in the past. This is a psychological trap known as the double bind. You can break this trap and expose their hidden malice without ever giving a yes or no answer by using a strategy called the meta counter. Find a mirror and practice these movements. Mastering your reactions now ensures that when you're actually cornered, you won't fall back into the reflexive patterns the attacker is expecting. The exact moment a toxic question drops, the entire tone of the conversation shifts. The manipulator is trying to create a false reality where your guilt is already predefined before you even open your mouth. If you get defensive and start explaining that you are not arrogant and never have been, you lose. You just handed them the steering wheel of the conversation by validating their false premise. If you get angry and snap at them, you also lose. You look emotionally unstable and they successfully play the victim. The only way to win is to step entirely outside of these expected emotional responses. Here is the exact physical sequence you need. The moment they drop the question, do not flinch, do not smile, and do not rush to speak. When you remain perfectly still, the attacker loses the emotional cues they rely on to keep you off balance. By denying them a reaction, you stop their momentum. A tense gap exists between the moment the question is asked and the moment they expect you to answer. You must let a cold, dead silence hang over the conversation for 2 full seconds. Lock your eyes onto theirs with absolute stillness to project unbroken focus. When you speak, use a very loaded question. What exactly are you trying to accomplish by asking that? Or you can simply ask, why is my character so deeply on your mind right now? Executing this script with a perfectly flat tone forces the manipulator to realize their emotional ambush has failed. The script has been delivered, and they must now explain themselves. The final failure point is filling the silence. You must immediately stop talking. Keep your eyes locked onto theirs. As you watch them closely, the psychological panic will rapidly set in as they realize the tables have turned. Because they have no logical defense, they will usually stutter, backtrack, or nervously try to laugh it off as a joke. Since a loaded question has no logical foundation, the manipulator's inability to provide a coherent answer makes their malice obvious to everyone in the room. Stepping outside their logic box neutralizes the trap and actively forces the manipulator to explain their own malicious intentions. By completing these steps, you have successfully neutralized an act of conversational warfare. A high-value individual never pleads their case to a manipulator. They simply shift the spotlight and force the attacker to explain themselves. Return to your mirror and drill these 2 scripts until your monotone delivery is purely second nature. Master your mind, master your reality. Subscribe to level up your psychology.